Okay, so yeah, so this particular topic will talk about isotopes. So if you understand the previous topic about subatomic particles, especially its properties like the number of neutron, like the number of proton, like the number of mass number, atomic number. So if you understand that, probably you will have an understanding about this one if you will listen carefully to me. Okay? So this one is about isotopes. So, seems like a new word to everyone kasi isotopes, when I was at your age also, not familiar yung word na isotope sa akin. Even though it's been discussed during junior high school years. Okay po? So, here, we'll talk about isotopes. Okay? So, let's continue. So, what do we actually mean by isotopes? Okay, but before we go deep into the meaning of isotopes, so I just want you to have in mind this our objectives. Okay, so this objective, you should be able to describe isotopes as atoms of the same element with the same number of protons and electrons but with different number of neutrons. Okay? So that's what we mean by isotopes. From the objectives itself, it's already given the definition of isotope. Okay? So these are atoms of the same element with the same number of protons and electrons, however, with different number of neutrons. Okay, so what do we mean by atoms of the same element? For example, hydrogen atom, hydrogen atom. So that's what we mean by atom with the same element. Okay, so for oxygen atom, it's only exclusive for oxygen atom. Okay, oxygen atom may always have the same number of proton, electron, and atomic number. However, it may differ. Okay, so it may differ in the number of neutron. Okay, so that's what gonna be isotope is. Okay, so isotopes, they are atoms of the same element that have the same number of protons and electrons but different number of neutrons. Okay, so for example, if we have oxygen, for example. Ilan nga yung atomic number ng oxygen? How many is the atomic number of oxygen?
8.
Okay, so we have 8 atomic numbers. So if we have 8 atomic number in oxygen, therefore, we following the rules, we have also 8 as the number of electrons and another 8 as the number of protons. Okay? So if we have 8 protons, 8 atomic number, 8 electrons. So in a periodic table class, if you look at your periodic table, the mass number of oxygen will be 16. Okay, so if we subtract 16 from 8, we get neutrons, the number of neutrons. So 16 minus 8, that's gonna be 8. However, there are elements with different number of neutrons. For example, in hydrogen, okay, there is 1, there is 0. So we can have an example for that for the following slides. Okay, so in this example, hydrogen has 3 isotopes. So meaning they are all hydrogen, however, they have these 3 isotopes have different neutrons. Okay, for example, hydrogen 1 has 1 proton and no neutrons. Okay? So if you're going to observe this one, yung hydrogen 1, meron siyang 1 proton, 1 electron and 1 atomic number. However, wala siyang neutrons. Okay? So for hydrogen 2, it has 1 proton, 1 neutron. Okay? So therefore, ang kanyang mass number is 2. Okay? So you just add neutron and proton. For hydrogen 3, so it has 1 proton and 2 neutrons. Therefore, it has 4 mass numbers. So it may differ. Okay? So they are all hydrogen because they both contain 1 as the atomic number and the number of electrons and protons, but it may differ, or it differs in the number of neutrons. Okay? Changing the number of neutrons class will also change the mass number. Okay? So changing the number of neutrons in the case of isotopes will also change the mass number or atomic weight of a particular element. Okay, so yan, here in this case, showing the diagram for all the hydrogen isotopes. So hydrogen 1, look at this one, there is 1 electron and 1 proton. Okay, so sabi dito, 1 proton, no neutron. So therefore, walang kasama yung proton na neutron. So proton and electron, that's one is hydrogen 1. Okay, so yan, mass number will be 1. Okay, whatever the mass of the nucleus, that's gonna be the mass of the whole atom. Okay, so for hydrogen 2, since it contains 1 proton and 1 neutron, so 1 proton nasa nucleus, 1 proton ay 1 neutron nasa nucleus. So a total of 2 mass number. Okay, nakalagay yan dyan sa taas. I hope you can see my cursor here. Okay, so 1 proton, 1 neutron. Okay, so total of that, 1 plus 2, we have 2 mass number of hydrogen 2. Okay, so and since meron tayong 1 proton, automatically meron na tayong 1 atomic number or 1 electron here. Okay pa? So for hydrogen 3, since it is said that 1 proton and 2 neutrons, so we have 1 proton here in the nucleus plus 2 neutrons. So a total of 3 mass number, because if you add 1 plus 2, that's gonna be 3. So yan, hydrogen 3. So also 1 proton corresponds to 1 electron and 1 atomic number. Okay? So therefore, hydrogen 1, hydrogen 2, hydrogen 3 are based on mass number. Kasi hydrogen 1, we have 1 mass number. Hydrogen 2, we have 2 mass number. Hydrogen 3, we have 3 mass number. So isotopes were assigned, or the name of isotopes were assigned based on the mass number of a particular element. I hope you got that. Okay, very easy to understand. Okay, so most of the elements naturally occur as a mixture of isotopes. Remember the statement here. Most of the elements naturally occur as a mixture of isotopes. Okay, mixture. Okay, so lahat or karamihan ng elements that we can investigate around are mixture of isotopes. So for example, for oxygen, di ba? So normally in a periodic table, we have 16 as the mass number here, 16 as the mass number, and 8 as the atomic number, proton and electron. Okay? So, however, oxygen does not only apply to 16, 8. Okay? So, oxygen can have different isotopes like this one. 17, oxygen 17, and oxygen 18. Okay? So, oxygen has 3 different isotopes. Okay? So, since it's a mixture, so, yan. So, yan po yung yung sa isotope ng oxygen. So, same thing with chlorine. Okay? So, isotopes of chlorine and oxygen. Okay? So, for chlorine 35, how many is the number of neutrons? Can you guess? How many is the number of neutrons in chlorine 35? Plus. Akala ko ba alam nyo na to? How many is the number of neutrons in chlorine 35? Any answer? Anyone can guess before the answer. How many is the number of neutrons? What is the formula in getting the number of neutrons? Oh, doon sa naka-perfect sa quiz, since it's related to this one. How many is the number of neutrons? Okay, so if you're going to get the number of neutrons, just subtract the mass number, total mass of an atom, minus 17. Okay, so 17 is the atomic number or the number of protons or the number of electrons. So 35 minus 17, the answer is 18. So don't be confused. That's very easy. Okay, do not just be confused of the previous topic that we discussed. Okay, kung hindi nyo pa siya maintindihan as of now, balik-balikan nyo yung discussion since recorded naman siya dun sa Google Classroom na pinost ko. Okay? Okay, balik-balikan nyo lang yung discussion and memorize nyo to. Okay? So, yan. You just subtract to get the number of neutrons. Okay? So, some elements, however, do not have naturally occurring isotopes. Okay? So, elements that do not have isotopes include like beryllium, okay, fluorine, and sodium. Okay, so they do not have naturally occurring, meaning etong oxygen, okay, chlorine, hydrogen, they are all naturally occurring isotopes. Okay, pero yung beryllium, fluorine, and sodium, if you want to have an isotope, you will have to conduct laboratory experiment from this because these elements or this example of elements will not have an isotope that can occur naturally. So it can have, but not naturally. It can just be lab experiment. Okay? Okay, so yan. So these are examples: beryllium, fluorine, and sodium. Be, Fl, and Na. Okay? So, yan. So, properties of isotopes. So, in chemical reactions, only the electrons are involved. Remember this one, ha? In chemical reactions, only the electrons are involved. So, remember, class, the structure of an atom, that electrons revolve around the nucleus. Okay, so the nucleus is just at the center containing the protons and neutrons. But the electrons are outside the nucleus wherein it revolves around the nucleus. Okay, so since isotopes have the same number of electrons, then they have similar chemical properties. Similar chemical properties. For example, the two isotopes of chlorine, we have chlorine 35 and chlorine 37. Both react with sodium to form sodium chloride. Okay? Whenever na magkaiba pa din yung number of neutrons, okay? In this case, chlorine 35 and chlorine 37. Kapag nag-react siya with a sodium, okay? So, magkakaroon pa din tayo ng sodium chloride. Okay? So, wag pong kakalimutan, class, that sodium chloride is a salt. Okay? Yung asin sa bahay, that's sodium chloride. Okay? So yan. Even though chlorine 37 or chlorine 35, if it reacts with sodium, it will have sodium chloride as a product. Okay po? Kasi electrons have the same properties as protons. Okay? So that is the unique property of each element in a periodic table. Okay? So yan. Properties of isotopes continue. The number of neutrons in an atom affects the mass and in turn affects the physical properties of an atom. Okay? Physical properties. Magkaiba po ang physical properties sa chemical properties. Remember, here, pag chemical properties, isotopes cannot change the chemical properties of an atom, but isotopes can change or can change the physical properties of an atom. What are these physical properties? So, I am pertaining for example, the mass of an atom. Okay, so yan. So for example, so another physical property, we have boiling point and density. Okay, so in this case, halimbawa, different isotopes can have slightly or even greater a different boiling and density. For example, we have hydrogen 2. Okay, the boiling and density of hydrogen 2 are slightly higher than hydrogen 1. Okay, so this pertains to physical properties. We have density and mass. Density and boiling point added to the mass. Okay, so mass, boiling point, density, these are physical properties, di ba? We've talked about this one, about the physical and chemical properties of matter. Sa physical, it contains boiling point, freezing point, density, mass, ano pa ba yun, length. Okay, so, and these physical properties can be divided into two. We have intensive, okay, so which refers to the kind of matter. Extensive refers to the amount of matter. Okay, so two types of physical property. We have intensive and extensive. For chemical properties, so ito na yung nagpe-pertain sa chemical reaction. So the presence of bubbles, okay, so the presence of odor and etc. Okay? So yan, I know na discuss na to during your grade 7 years kasi I am discussing that particular topic sa mga grade 7. Okay? So yan, so we have another term, radioisotopes. Okay? So radioisotopes, okay, so these are isotopes which emit radiation of high energy. So you call that class as radioisotopes. From the word itself, radiation and isotopes. Okay? So radioisotopes are produced by bombarding an atom with fast neutrons produced from nuclear reactors. Okay, so these are source of radiation. It bombards the atom with fast neutrons produced by nuclear reactors. From the word itself, nucleus. Okay, so it bombards the nucleus of an atom. So this process transforms a stable atom into unstable isotopes, just of the same element, kasi we're pertaining to isotopes then. Okay? So the high energy radiation emitted by radioisotopes can damage living cells since it's a radiation and therefore dangerous. Okay? So, however, there are variety of applications for radioisotopes. Okay? Yung sa yung mga nuclear energy, okay? So, yun yung mga application or advantages conducted or having this radioisotope. So there are advantages, there are disadvantages. So the weight of advantage and disadvantage differ from one country to another country. Okay, so for some country, it's very advantageous for them having radioisotopes. For other countries like us, since pinagbabawal nga yung nuclear energy, so kasi mas mataas yung possible na disadvantage ng nuclear energy, di ba? Yung nuclear energy sana pinapatayo ni Marcos, so hindi siya natuloy because of the danger. Okay po, so yan. Okay, radioisotopes are widely used in medical field as well as in safety. So hindi lang siya as a source of energy, also in a medical field, okay? As well as in safety and security. So we have americium-241. So this one is an isotope of americium element. So it's used in smoke detectors. Okay, so 'di ba? Alam niyo yung mga smoke detectors sa mga building siya. Sa mga building na nakalagay lang yun sa ceiling. Okay, diyan sa taas niyo. If you have smoke detector in your house, okay, so that contains americium-241. Okay, so this one is an advantage. Why? because it can detect smoke. Okay, so it can alarm you whenever na merong sunog sa bahay or merong something smoke. Okay, so yan, smoke detector, americium 241. Okay, so yan. So, ito yung mga applications ng different isotopes that is used in different industry. Okay? So, americium 241, ito na yung sa smoke detectors. Okay? You can find californium 252 in the detection of explosive. Okay? You can use californium 242 in detection of explosives. Iodine 131, okay, is used in the treatment of thyroid diseases. This one is for medical. Okay, so technetium 99, detection of tumors. Okay, another medical. Carbon 14, okay, age estimation of carbon containing materials. Okay, ito na yung tinatawag nating carbon dating. Okay, carbon dating. So it measures the age of a particular organic matter or carbon containing material. Okay, so carbon 14 is used to estimate the age. So another, bakit ayaw magpakita nitong isa. Okay, so we have uranium 238. So it's used for the estimation of the age of rocks. Okay po. So yan. So for how to estimate the sedimentary rock, age of sedimentary rock, age of tectonic rocks natin. Okay. Meron tayong kasing sedimentary, we have igneous, and we have, nakalimutan ko yung isa, yung nasa ilalim. Okay? So, yan. Okay, so these are the key points. Isotopes, remember, they are of the same element, however, different in number of neutrons. Okay, so isotopes can change the physical property of an atom, but it just have the same chemical properties. Okay, so yan, isotopes emit radiation. You call this as radioisotopes. Okay, these are artificially produced and they are unstable atoms. Okay, can be advantageous, can be disadvantageous. Okay po. So yan. So let's skip this one. Okay, ito na yung tinatawag kong sa carbon dating. So it measures it estimates the age of a particular matter containing carbon atom, like organic materials. Okay? So yan. So we are going to proceed with the next topic. So yan, so this is gonna be our next topic. So it's related to the previous topic about isotope because it will talk about ions. Okay, kung kanina you have the word isotope, which you might not know before we discussed, pero alam niyo na ngayon. Same thing with ions. I know most of you hindi niyo pa alam yung word na ions. Okay? But after this discussion, you will know kung ano ba talaga yung ions, paano ba siya nag-occur yung ions. Okay? So here, we will talk about ions. Okay? So make sure that you listen because I can give you a quiz later, pwedeng bukas, pwedeng sa susunod nating meeting. Okay? So yan. Ions. So here are your objectives. So describe the process of forming ions. Remember that ions are formed. Okay? So describe the two types of ions. Okay? So ano ba yung two types of ions? So any guess if you have a clue about if you have a guess about the two types of atoms. Okay? So if none, we'll know that in succeeding slides. Okay pa? So, yan. So, ions, when we talk ions class, okay, so, it pertains to the loss or gain of electron. Ibig sabihin, one atom may lose or may gain electron. Remember kasi class, yung electron, nasa ano siya, nasa outside ng nucleus. Okay? And since outside siya ng nucleus, it's subject to chemical reaction, yung different atoms. When this chemical reaction occurs, chemical reaction happens whenever there is a loss or gain of a particular electron in an atom. Okay? So whenever the chemical reaction happened or lose or gain of an electron, there comes this ion. Ion is formed. Ion is formed. Okay? So ions are atoms that have net positive or negative charge. Remember kasi class yung electron, negative charge, di ba? Okay? Whenever one particular atom receive electron, ibig sabihin, electron is a negative. Okay? Madadagdagan yung kanyang negativity or charge in negativity or negative charge. Okay? Whenever some particular atom receives electron, it will increase the negative charge. When one atom release or lose electron, it will have a positive charge. Okay? So, yan. So, kasi nag-release siya ng negative. Naging positive or more of positive. Okay? So, ito yung two types. Okay? So, if you know this one, you have this cation ions. Cation ions. We have anions. So, we differentiate this one. So, pag sinabi natin cation ions, when an atom loses one or more electrons, a cation is formed. A cation is positively charged ion. Bakit siya positive? Because it loses electron which is a negative. Okay? So, parang ikaw, kung tatanggalin mo yung negative sa sarili mo, mga negative mo, yung mga electrons mo sa sarili mo, okay, you will become optimistic, you will become positive kasi tinanggal mo yung negative. So, same thing works with cation ion, okay? When one or more electrons from an atom is gone, okay? So, wala, okay? Magiging positive ka. You call this class at cation ion, okay? For example, a sodium atom can easily lose one electron to form sodium ion. Okay, so yan, kapag nag-lose siya ng one electron, sodium atom, and this sodium ion, So this sodium ion is positive 1 because it lost one electron. Okay, so a sodium ion is written as sodium positive. Meron tayong positive Na, which stands for sodium, positive because it loses one electron. So this one is an ion. So nagkakaroon tayo class ng signage pagdating natin sa ion. Okay? Iba yung element sa ion. Okay? So kapag element, it does not guarantee with positive or with negative charges. Okay? Pero pag ions, may cation and ion. So, meron na tayo dyang charges. Okay? Meron na tayong positive, negative charge na nasa upper right ng symbol ng any element. Okay? So, yan. So, ito yung sa cation. Okay? So, yung sa sodium. Diba yung sodium, how many is the number of electron in sodium? How many is the number of electrons in a sodium? How many? You can message sa chat. How many is the number of electrons, class? Okay, so we have 11. So, very good for those who answered. 11 is the number of electrons, number of protons, and atomic number of sodium. Kasi diba, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium. After neon, we have sodium. Okay, so yan. So i-memorize niyo pala class yung as for your recitation, you memorize the first 30 elements. Okay? So yun na muna yung unahin yung i-memorize. First 30 elements in the periodic table. Okay? So you memorize that. Okay? I'll set a date when will I be conducting your recitation, oral recitation, virtual. Okay? So, first 30 element. Okay? So, you memorize that. Okay, so let's continue with the present slide. Okay, so a sodium ion is written as Na positive because it's a cation. It loses 1 electron. Okay? So since we have sodium 11 electrons, so let's count 11. Okay? So 1 2 wait lang. Gamitin natin yung pointer. Okay? So let's count from the inner. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Okay? So let's not focus first dun sa arrangement ng electron kasi it's a different topic yung sa mga valence electrons. Okay? So let's just count. Okay? Pero ganyan yung arrangement niya. Okay? So yung sodium, it loses 1 electron, yung nasa outer level, yung nasa valence electron. You call this as valence electron. Yung nasa outer orbital ng sodium, mawawala yon. It will lose 1 electron. And when this happens, okay, so sodium element, previous from 11 electron, magiging na siyang sodium atom with just 10 electrons. Kasi 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay? So, if it loses 1 electron, hindi na siya element. Kasi yung element, ang nagde-define sa element class, one that defines the element is the number of electron. Okay? So, di ba ang sodium, meron tayong 11 electron, 11 proton, and 11 atomic number. So, pag nawalan siya ng electron na 11, since na yan yung nagde-define sa element, so hindi na siya classified as an element. So it's classified already as an ion. Okay? And since same pa din yung property niya with sodium, so you just call this one as sodium atom. Sodium atom that releases or loses 1 electron. So it becomes positive. Okay? So, yan. So, for cation ions, so ito yung number of protons natin sa sodium. Okay? Number of electrons natin sa sodium, and net charge niya 0. Bakit siya 0? Diba in a previous topic now that we discussed, nagiging 0 siya kasi yung proton, which is positive, na-equalize niya yung electron na negative. Kaya 0 yung charge. Okay? Pagdating sa ion, sodium ion, since we have all 11 proton kasi it does not change, nasa nucleus yung proton. Since it loses 1 electron, it just becomes 10. Okay? So, pag naging 10, if you are going to subtract this one, 11 minus 10, 11 is in higher greater. 11 minus 10 will be 1. Positive 1 because 11 or proton is much larger than the number of electron. Okay, so this one is a positive one. So the sodium ion becomes a positively charged or Na positive. Okay po? So I hope you're getting this one. This one is just an easy equation for you. Continue. Okay, so yan, let's continue. Okay, so remember ha, ion has a charge but atom doesn't have a charge. Remember the difference of an element or atom and an ion. Atom, ion are different things. Atom does not concern with the charge kasi it has a zero charge, but ion has a charge. I want you to remember that one. Okay, so let's continue. So another example is magnesium. Okay, so magnesium atom can readily lose, nabubulol pa di ako, can readily lose 2 electrons to form a magnesium ion or magnesium positive 2. Positive 2 kasi dalawang electrons yung kanyang na-lose. Okay po? So, you call this as magnesium positive 2. Okay? So, it can readily lose 2 electrons. Okay? So, ano yung mga ganitong ano yung mga ganitong elements? Bakit sila naglo-lose ng electrons? Kasi they are unstable elements. Okay? So, unstable elements. So, pag pinag-discuss natin yung sa periodic table of element, we will know yung mga unstable and stable. Okay, yung mga stable, we have halogen. So, sa periodic table yan. Arrangement yan sa periodic table. Okay, I hope we can discuss that soon. Okay, so, yan. So, yan. So, ang magnesium, ilan nga? So, if you memorize that one, so, ganito yung pag-memorize nyo. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium. So, after sodium siya. Okay? So, you memorize just from the first hydrogen to 30th. Okay? So, it readily loses 2 electrons. So, when this happens, so it becomes magnesium 2 positive or positive 2. So, some might write the sign first before the number of electrons loosed. Okay? Loose or electron muna bago sign. Okay? So, a magnesium atom loses 2 electrons to form a magnesium ion. Okay, so yan. So same thing with with the sodium. So hindi ko na siya iisa-isahin sa inyo because parehas lang siya. So how magnesium ion has a positive 2 charge. Okay? Because it loses 2 electrons. Okay? So when an atom gains 1 or more electrons, eto na yung other type ng ng ion. We have an ion. Kung kanina kapag positively charged ion, you call that as cation. Cation. Negatively charged ion naman anion. Anion. Pag sinabi kasing negative for it. A chlorine can easily gain 1 electron to form a chloride ion. Okay? So, the charge of a chloride ion is negative 1 because it lost 1 electron. A chloride ion is written as chlorine negative. Okay? So, wag mo na pong ilagay yung 1 kasi obvious na yan na kapag negative 1 na yan. Pero pag 2 yung na kanyang na-gain na electron, ilagay nyo po yung 2. Okay po? So, para hindi kayo mahirapan. So, pag 1, it's obvious na meron na yung 1. No need to write 1. Okay? Pero pag 2, 3, 4, so you write the number of electrons gained in a particular an ion. Okay po? So, yan. So, a chloride ion is written as chloride negative. Okay? So, yan. So, ito yung chloride ion. So, nag-gain siya ng electron. Okay? So, nag-gain siya ng electron. So, from here, so, bilangin natin 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. 17 is the number of electrons, atomic number of protons ng chlorine. Okay, so but if it becomes an ion, so you call that as chloride ion. Okay, so it gains electron 17, it becomes 18. Ito na yung itsura niya. More stable na siya kasi even na siya yung sa yung sa electron. Okay, o electron orbitals niya is equal. So meron, it's a different topic Pero I hope I can discuss this for the succeeding lessons. Okay po? So, yan. Nag-gain siya ng electron. So, since it gains electron which is a negative one, so it becomes more negative. You call it as an ion. Okay? So, ito yung ano niya, yung scenario sa an ion ng chlorine. Chlorine atom, proton niya is 17, electron is 17, parehas 17, and neutron is 18. So therefore, 17 plus 18, we have ilan? 30, 35. Okay, so we have 35 as the number or as the mass number. Okay, pero let's not concern about the mass number. Let's concern about the number of electrons. So here, so since it receives one electron, so from 17, it becomes 18, sorry. From 17, it becomes 18. So, 17 plus 1, we have 18. Okay, so, naging negative charge na siya. Okay, kasi 17 minus 18, okay, so it becomes negative 1. Okay, mas madami yung charge ng electron, so you copy the sign of an electron which is negative. Okay, so from stable chlorine atom to unstable chloride ion. So from 0 charge to negative 1 charge. Okay po, I hope you're getting this one. Okay, so another example is sulfur. A sulfur is an ion that can readily gain 2 electrons. You call this ion a sulfide ion. Sulfide ion or S negative 2. Okay? Or S2 negative. Okay? So here, sulfur, ilan nga yung sulfur? So if you memorize that, or you count 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. Okay, tama ba? 16 ba is the number of atomic number? Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur. 16. Okay, so 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so we have 16. So, since it has 16, so, and it can readily accept 2 electrons to make it stable from this illustration to this illustration. So, yan. So, naging sulfide ion na siya. Kasi, bakit siya unstable? Atom, kasi tignan mo naman yung kanyang arrangement ng electrons. Kulang, merong kulang na dalawa. To supply that with to make it stable, it should gain 2 electrons. Okay, so from nearby atoms. Okay, to make it stable. You call that a sulfide ion. Okay, so yan. So yan, so since it gains 2, from 8, it becomes 10. Okay, so since an electron, so negative charge niya, yung charge niya is negative 2, which is an ion. Okay, so remember, ions are formed when an atom either loses or gains electron. Cations are positively charged ions, and negatively charged ions, we have anion. Okay, wag pong kalimutan. Okay, so let's try to answer this one. Okay, so sagutan na lang natin dito sa discussion. Okay, so barium loses 2 electrons. Okay, so ano yung magiging ano niya? Ion na, ito yung example niya. Bromine, we have Br, gains 1 electron. So kaya Br negative. Wala nang 1 kasi obvious na 1 na yan. Since it gain electron, it is an ion. So what about barium? Ano yung ion na ma-form niya? It loses 2 electrons. It loses 2 electrons. Dalawa ang malulus niyang electrons. Okay, so barium negative 2. Ba negative 2 or 2 negative. Since it loses electron, it is ion. Okay? So, pag positively charged, cation. Okay? So, wag pong kalimutan. Okay? What about this one? Copper. Copper or Cu. It loses 2 electrons. Ions formed. Copper, positive 2. Wag pong kalimutan, it loses. Okay, positive po. Okay, not negative. Okay? So, nabawasan siya ng electron. So, Cu positive 2. Okay po, wag pong kalimutan. Or Cu2 positive. Okay? So, because it loses 2 electron. Okay? So, tignan nyo, ito, gain. Pag nag-gain siya, negative. Lahat ng gain, negative. Lahat ng lose, positive. Okay po? So, since it loses electron, these are all cation. Cation po. Huwag kalimutan, class. Nalilito kayo. Okay po? So that's just paki-review po ng ng discussion natin para hindi kayo mawala kapag nag-quiz ako. Okay? So, yan. So, let's skip this one. So, that's gonna be our discussion. Thank you kasi nakikinig kayo.